The addiction of video games, tablets, smartphone apps, the rise in preventable lifestyle diseases due to lack of physical activity, which could be prevented by participating in one form of sport or the other. The interest in X games, modern urban sports by the youths of today, and not forgetting the consuming effect of mega sports like football, bigger sport like football, has had smaller, less popular sports, though culturally important, to rethink their strategies of remaining existent. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Eni Udo Obong, and along with my team, Aleze Punzi, Maria Danu, and Slaven Drizajevic, we have been mandated by the International Union of Modern Pentathlon, which we'll refer to as UIPM from now on, to tackle some of these issues. Can I start by paying attention?
And then I found out that Mohamed the Prophet wrote down, teach your sons riding, teach your sons swimming, teach your sons shooting. Shooting is hard.
Now the voice of Dr. Klaus Schumann, the president of the UIPM, it's telling us the direction and where the vision of the UIPM is going toward the future, the continent of Asia. And that introduces us to our topic for today, which is expanding modern pentathlon, more territories, enhanced disciplines, with particular attention to Asia, where more than 60% of the world population resides. But first, what is modern pentathlon? Well, modern pentathlon, as the name implies, is a sport consisting of 5 disciplines: fencing, swimming, show jumping, and a combined event of running and shooting. It's a unique sport in that it was invented by Baron de Coubertin, the father of modern Olympics, and took his debut in the Olympics in 1912, and ever since, it has been a permanent feature in the Olympic program. Can we just try and experience what it's all about? Now, our purpose was very simple. We had to make the sports more accessible to people to participate. We had to improve its global reach, make it a more universal sport. And we had to improve the spectator experience in which that people can watch it and enjoy it, whether live or through any other media such as televisions. And all this comes in line with the UIPM's need to modernize the sport, continuous modernization, to make the sports a sport for everyone, irrespective of your athletic capability, and in tune with the IOC's reforms to keep the sport very relevant to the Olympic program. Our method was clear, our method was concise. We took a 3-step approach. We studied initially the UIPM's needs and opportunities and its state of affairs. Then we investigated key areas of our project objectives, which we will clarify to you in a moment or so. And finally, we indicated benchmarks and suggested key performance indicators. After going through these things, we realized in the state of affairs of UIPM that there was really some concern. According to the IOC, the UIPM was graded, last, that's category E, in some parameter that was used to grade all sports that took part in the Olympics. It's only joined by golf and rugby, which are new sports, the ISS parameters. So there was a risk of UIPM leaving the Olympic program. We also looked at some 10 multi-sports events, and out of the 10 events we checked out, UIPM through Modern Pentathlon was only present in 3 of them. As a matter of fact, it was a little bit more worrisome because in the Goodwill Games, they had the Modern Pentathlon, but it was replaced by the triathlon, the ITU, which is one of the federations in which we benchmark the UIPM because of its similarities and because of their progress too. So we compare this 10 with the UIPM with the ITU. Although now we can see that the USA, the UIPM has made some advances in the World University Student Games. In the next Student Games, the Modern Pentathlon will be present in one form or the other. We also sent some structured and unstructured questionnaires to participants at the Youth A World Championship in Budapest to get the view of how the sport is perceived by the family of the sports, athletes, officials, and entourage. And what we realized was striking. First of all, only about 5% of athletes want to remain within the sport after their career. That's losing almost 95% of their total population. Then what was even more striking for us was that only about 11%, just above 10%, really knew about the sport itself and the disciplines within the sports. And we find out that that was worrisome if a particular fraction did not really understand the sport in which they're participating. So this led us to understand that there was a problem and we needed to tackle it. So I will hand over to Slaven, if you will, to talk about our project objectives.
Thank you, Annie. I will lead you through the main part of our team project that are objectives. And the first objective is development of the sport in Asia. Then we have promotion of modern triathlon and extension of sport for all idea. During our investigations in Budapest, during World Youth Championships this year, we have asked young athletes several questions. First question was, who did you learn about modern pentathlon from? As you can see, coaches play the main part. Second question aimed at how do you see yourself when you finish career and you think you're going to stay within the family of UIPM? How do you see your career if you stay? 70% answered coach and administrative role. We know these kids are 16 years old, but that was also one of the supporting reasons why we have as targets coaching at grassroots and administration, that we think there is a big possibility to improve and professionalize administration forces. In our next step, we have asked ourselves a question: what can international federation do or national federation in order to improve participation in grassroots level and basically increase the interest of the sport? We have benchmarked IDHEAP, Athletic Federation Kids program, that has been launched in the year 2005. And as we all know, implementation is the hardest process to do in reality. And Czech Athletic Federation has done this job successfully 4 years later, starting in 2009. And here are results. Increasing grassroots participation is seen over the last 4 years, 2010 to 2013. And together with grassroots goes as well coaching. These information are coming from annual reports of Czech Athletic Federation. And also this is why we think it's important to invest in a kids program and increase the grassroots. Recommended actions, the most important part. Set up a working group during the next coaches conference regarding UIPM kids program. That is our idea. This comes with no additional cost and it's leveraging on already existing World Youth Coaching and Youth Development Program that is the part of development activities of UIPM. Administration, employ a continental coordinator here. Creating a position of continental coordinator would facilitate relations between UIPM and national federations. And already this has been done successfully in the world of sport, and results are out there, like federations with a truly global outreach, like International Table Tennis Federation and Hockey Federation has done this. And one important thing is that continental coordinator can help creating new national federations where they still don't exist, like in Asia. And we have a third recommendation: develop a tailor-made UIPM kids program that is in alignment, as I mentioned already, with existing development activities, and recommend national federation to create an easy access webpage so parents, we are aiming mostly at parents of young athletes, so they can orientate and they find out what is out there. Second objective, promotion of modern triathlete. Let me first explain what the modern triathlete is. It's a sub-discipline within UIPM that consists of 3 consecutive sports. It's shooting, it's swimming, and it's running. And this again is called modern triathlete. It's a development discipline of UIPM, and it's easy to stage, it's accessible, and we think, actually, UIPM think that it's good to invest activities and promote this sport. Modern triathlete as a standalone discipline, that's one of the targets because it has the potential to attract athletes from other sports. Viable for sponsorship, we think that this sport, sub-sport, has a potential to be marketable sport, and we'll be happy to elaborate on this later. And increase representativeness of second-tier countries at modern pentathlon competitions. This means that this sub-sport can be a tool to introduce modern pentathlon in the countries where still they don't know about it. So it's just a transitional phase. We've been benchmarking against the success of the International Federation, Triathlon, who control marketing and event rights, diversify their target groups, and hold competitions in iconic photo-friendly venues together as Archery Federation. And you had a chance last weekend or this weekend to see it was in the city center, it was in Ushi. They were holding the competition, so it's a pretty nice example. Recommended actions, increase investment in marketing. What does it mean? UIPM should retain event rights and should create a commercial strategy. But the most important, they should create a set of series, competition series, and give it a marketable name, give it to marketing agency to test the marketing value, and if this is successful, they can sell marketing rights. If this is not successful, at least what they can do, they can create a communication in between competitions. Improve communication towards prospective athletes. Basically tells again about the communication, and all the participants within the sport should know what starting from modern biathlete, triathlete, and there is also sport tetrathlon, and then leads to pentathlon. Tetrathlon is triathlete, just added fencing. And hold competition in city centers, as here is the example of World Archery Federation in Edinburgh. This should be done in the city centers, in the heart of the cities, with the organizational help of UIPM. And with the photo-friendly venues, they can increase awareness of the sport. And let's go to the third objective, that is extension for sport for all idea, and targets are create a solid image fit with universities and expand activity related, and create an inclusive master community by engaging athletes with diverse sporting history. So extension of sport for all idea, as you can see, we are going university direction as well the master's community direction. We've been benchmarking against the Pentathlon GB, that is a federation of Great Britain in modern pentathlon, who is part of the British University College Sports and runs the world's most successful modern pentathlon university program, and the FINA Swimming Federation and IDHEAP Athletic Federation, who created an inclusive master's program engaging athletes from all kinds of sports. And again, the most important thing, recommended actions for UIPM. Expand to other university sports associations the BUCS model, the British University College Sports model. UIPM should understand how this model works. They should cooperate with the pentathlon from Great Britain and draft certain guidelines and offer it to the countries where university participation is still not that active. Run a campaign on modern pentathlon as the sport of dynamic athletes. As UIPM president said, and we agree with him, pentathlete is an athlete with a lot of skills, and it's good to do campaign on this. And also, aiming at university means bringing the pedagogic value up. So on this should be run a campaign. Athlete who can do a lot of things and is also educated. And improve communication towards existing and potential master athletes means attracting all athletes older than 35 and make them aware of modern triathlete and all the possibilities they have of participation. This will increase awareness and to raise the family of UIPM, and I will give my word to Penny.
Oh, well, may I stress that most of these recommendations we're seeing here are just selected recommendations, and in our reports, which we have in front of you, we have been more in details with the recommendations and the number of recommendations which we put out. But after doing all this, whatever is said, like in any race or in any sports, if you're running a race and you do not have the lap times to know your progress, you probably will be running in vain. So because of this, we have put out key performance indicators to allow us to observe if there are improvements in whatever we have suggested by the Federation. First of all, in the issue of development, we've looked at the number of schools and clubs participating, if there is an increase in the participation rate. If there is the increase in the standards of performance, increase of the number of affiliated national federations to the UIPM2 will also indicate whether we are succeeding in what we have recommended. The promotion of modern triathletes, we look at the event stage, we look at the number or the rise in the number of the event stage, and the number of new participants and sponsors. And finally, sports for all through universities and masters, we still look at the increase. That's an important thing, looking at numbers in participation of university level activity. The increase in the master's level too, and the increase in the number of times people like you and I, probably not I, take part in some kind of sport in modern pentathlon as a recreational activity. So whether we look at development part of it, and how many people are participating, or we look at the promotion of triathlon as a new discipline of whoever comes in, or through how many universities are taking up triathlon in their competitions or not, the most important thing we have to key in that the UIPM will have to do can be summarized with the key in different forms of a key way, and that is communication. We appreciate your listening, and we'll be ready to answer your questions. Thank you.